and emotions fly, the one who remains centered becomes the anchor everyone else gravitates toward, not out of fear, but out of respect, out of curiosity, out of awe. Calmness is not weakness. It's command over your nervous system. It's emotional intelligence in motion. And in a world dominated by reaction, noise and drama, calm becomes a weapon of psychological dominance. Why do most people lose the game before it starts? Because they react. They walk into a conversation already tense, already triggered. Someone says something offensive, they explode. A passive-aggressive jab. They bite back instantly. They're not controlling the situation. They're being pulled by it. This is what Epictetus warned about. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If someone can press a button and make you angry, you're not in control. You're programmable. And here's the real twist. The people who want to manipulate or dominate you are testing for those buttons. They're watching how fast you defend yourself, how easily you get offended, whether your face changes when they mention something you're insecure about. Every visible emotional reaction gives away a part of your strategy until you're playing with your hand wide open. Calm is not natural, it's trained. Let's be clear. Calmness doesn't come naturally in tense situations. It must be forged, repeated, hardened through self-discipline. You don't just stay calm when your ego is under attack. You practice mental detachment. You condition your breathing. You visualize the moment before it happens and choose who you'll be, not who your emotions want you to be. Calmness is a performance enhancer. It keeps your vision clear. It allows you to read the room. It buys you time to observe what others are missing in their emotional storms. Calm is not passive, it's strategic. Some people mistake calmness for indifference. They assume you're passive or weak because you don't fight back, because you don't clap back instantly on social media, because you let someone talk without interrupting. Let them believe that illusion becomes your camouflage. Stillness is power. Silence is tension. And restraint real. Muscular restraint is terrifying to the insecure, because when you're calm, they don't know what you're thinking. They don't know how much you know. They can't read you. And people fear what they can't read. That's where your advantage begins. In negotiations, in relationships, in conflict. The one who controls their tone, their timing, their tension controls the game. Real-world example. The boardroom breakdown picture. This. Two executives are pitching a high-stakes partnership. One of them is loud, animated, selling hard, throwing in jokes, energy, pressure. The other sitting still, watching, occasionally asking precise questions. 10 minutes in, the loud one starts unraveling, rambling, overselling. The calm one, he leans forward once, drops one line, "You've given me a lot of enthusiasm, but very little data." Boom. Silence. Game over. That's calm power. It doesn't need volume. It doesn't beg for attention. It waits, then strikes with precision. Build your fortress. The rituals of Stoic calm. If you want to own the room without speaking a word, you need daily practices that sharpen your emotional control. Start here. 1. Morning silence. Don't touch your phone for 30 minutes after waking. Sit with your mind. Let it settle. Learn to listen before reacting. 2. The pause rule. Whenever someone says something triggering, pause. Count 3 seconds before responding. Or don't respond at all. 3. Reflective journaling. Every night, ask yourself, when today did I lose my calm? What triggered me? Name it. Learn from it. Make it powerless. 4. Cold exposure. Yes. Cold showers or ice baths. Not for TikTok. For training your nervous system to stay calm under stress. 5. Controlled breathing box breathing. 4 seconds in, hold. 4 seconds out, hold. This resets your mind during pressure. Make it a reflex. Remember this. When you stay calm, you outsmart emotional traps. Radiate qui est confidence. Control the tempo of every interaction. While others burn energy trying to dominate through noise, you dominate through presence. You don't need to raise your voice when your aura already commands the room. Calmness is rare, and anything rare becomes valuable. So train yourself to be the still eye of the storm. Let the chaos swirl around you, not within you. Because the man who stays calm doesn't just survive the battle, he owns the battlefield. If you want to outsmart someone, you don't fight them. You observe them. Let them speak first. Let them reveal their mindset, their fears, their insecurities while you remain still. Cue it. Unreadable. Because in any game, whether it's business, power, love, or influence, the one who speaks first reveals their hand. The ancient art of strategic listening. The Stoics taught this before psychology ever caught up. It is better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and remove all doubt. But this isn't just about not speaking. It's about listening with intent. Listening not to reply, but to extract. When someone talks, they unconsciously tell you what matters to them, what they're trying to hide, what they hope you won't notice. Most people can't help it. They leak clues constantly in their tone, their rhythm, their word choice. And when you're calm, centered, and unreactive, you catch it all. You learn more by saying less. You gather intel while they reveal strategies. That's psychological warfare disguised as humility. Let insecurity do the talking. Here's the paradox. People want to impress those they think are above them. So if you carry yourself with quiet confidence, not arrogance, but true inner power, people will talk to prove themselves to you. They'll overshare, overcompensate, over-explain their plans, motives, and weaknesses. And the best part, they won't even realize they're doing it. You're not interrogating them. You're simply letting silence do the heavy lifting. Insecure people fear silence. They fill it with words, and those words betray them. Real-world example, the subtle trap. Imagine you're negotiating with someone. Instead of jumping in with your offer, you simply say, "Tell me what you're looking for." Then you listen. They'll likely overtalk, trying to sound confident, but in the process, they'll tell you their real priorities. They'll reveal what concessions they're afraid of. They might even mention what deal they don't want, which gives you your target. Now you know the terrain. While they know almost nothing about you, That's not luck. That's leverage. And leverage always favors the patient. Use questions as soft weapons. A well-placed question is more dangerous than a sharp accusation. Why? Because questions don't provoke defenses, they invite exposure. Try these. What makes you say that? Why do you think that matters? How did you come to that conclusion? These aren't attacks. They're mirrors. And most people aren't ready to see themselves clearly. If someone's lying, manipulating, or hiding something, these calm, innocent questions cause them to trip over their own narrative. They reveal inconsistencies. They sweat. They start rambling. Meanwhile, you're just sitting there, watching. Practice the Stoic poker face. None of this works if your own face is a billboard. If your eyebrows jump every time you hear something surprising, if your tone changes when someone offends you, if your posture shifts every time the topic touches your ego, you've lost your edge. So train your neutrality. In conversations, keep a relaxed jaw. Let silence be your power. Respond slowly, intentionally, like someone with nothing to prove. This isn't fake. This is self-mastery. The strategic power of I don't know. Here's one of the most powerful phrases in psychological dominance: I don't know. What do you think it makes people drop their guard? They assume you're not a threat. So they keep talking and exposing. Meanwhile, you're in total control. Your advantage is hidden. Keep it that way. The biggest mistake you can make when you feel confident is to show it too early. You'll be tempted to flex your knowledge, to correct people, to win small arguments. But that reveals your level. You want them wondering, what's he really thinking? Why isn't she reacting? Is he seeing something I'm not? That uncertainty, it breeds caution. It forces respect. And that's how you dominate without ever raising your voice. Final thought. In a world where people are addicted to being heard, choose to be the one who listens. Let others fall in love with their own voice, while you fall in love with information. Because when the time comes to act, you won't need noise. You'll already know exactly where to strike and how hard. You can't outfight someone who knows your every move. But you can always outmaneuver someone who's too eager to show you theirs. That's how the quiet win. That's how the calm conquer. That's how the wise dominate. True power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't shout. It doesn't seek validation. It simply is steady, silent, and undeniable. The greatest leaders don't lead by command. They lead by presence. They don't have to say, "Follow me," people just do. And that is your next advantage. To shape outcomes without forcing them. To influence minds without needing credit. To lead without showing your hand. Influence is stronger than control. The insecure seek control. They micromanage. They dominate with volume. They try to own people. But what's the result? Resistance. Rebellion. Fragility. The powerful, on the other hand, influence. They inspire direction without ever issuing orders. They plant ideas, not commands, into the minds of others. They suggest, not dictate. They ask, not order. They listen, not perform. That's psychological leadership, and it's far more effective than brute control. Be the invisible hand that shapes the room. When you walk into a room with presence, people adjust. They sit straighter. They speak more carefully, not because you said anything, but because your energy said enough. This is the effect of quiet dominance. You don't need attention. You command respect. How? Your posture radiates composure. Your eye contact is calm, not confrontational. Your words are slow, intentional, surgical. This isn't about pretending to be stoic. It's about embodying a mindset that doesn't react to every minor disturbance. You've got nothing to prove, and that unbothered certainty makes people follow your lead without you asking them to. Plant ideas, let them think it's theirs. The most advanced strategy in human interaction, letting others believe your idea was their idea. This takes finesse. It takes emotional intelligence, but it works better than any argument you'll ever win. You don't say, "You should do it like this." You ask, "Have you considered this angle?" You don't say, "My way is better." You suggest, "What would happen if we tried a different approach?" Let their ego breathe. Let them own the conclusion. As long as the outcome moves in your favor, does it matter who gets the credit? This is how empires are built without shouting. Control the frame. Not the fight. Smart people argue over facts. Wiser people control the frame of the conversation. Let me explain. If you try to win an argument by proving you're right, you've already entered their game. Instead, shift the context. Control the premise, not the details. Example: someone criticizes your idea. Instead of defending it, you say, "That's an interesting perspective, but I'm more focused on long-term impact than immediate results." Boom. Now the conversation is on your terms, not theirs. They wanted a fight. You redirected it with elegance. That's leadership without force. Detach from the outcome. Guide the flow. Here's where Stoicism kicks in hard. You don't need to win. You prefer to win big difference. When you detach from the outcome emotionally, you stay in control psychologically. You're not desperate to convince. You're not afraid to walk away. You're not shaken if your idea gets ignored because you know it will come back around. This mental freedom gives you the flexibility to navigate any social, political, or emotional arena with clarity. You flow, not force. You guide, not grab. And those who are frantic to win short-term arguments, they exhaust themselves. You, on the other hand, conserve energy and win the long game. Real-world power. The Marcus Aurelius strategy. Marcus Aurelius didn't bark orders. He didn't manipulate people with threats. He led with reason, with dignity, with example. When generals failed, he didn't humiliate them. He asked questions. He listened. He adapted, because he knew a true leader never needs to flex. The results speak louder than the ego ever could. Apply that today. If someone opposes you, don't react. Instead, ask for their view. Let them speak fully. Thank them for their honesty. Then, shift the direction subtly, because once emotion is lowered, reason takes the throne. And once reason leads you, win quietly. Final thought. Those who always need to prove they're right have already lost. Those who quietly guide, with presence and clarity, they own the room, the respect, and the outcome. Remember, the most dangerous piece on the board isn't the one that moves the fastest. It's the one that no one sees coming. Be that peace. Lead silently. Influence strategically. And outsmart anyone without ever needing to show your hand. There's a reason empires fall, because they were built on speed, not strength, on ego, not endurance. And there's a reason legends last, because they were forged in patience, built with clarity, and strengthened through storms. This is how the wise outsmart the world. They play the long game. Most people are addicted to the now. Look around you. People are in a rush to get rich, a rush to be noticed, a rush to win today. But what happens? They burn out. They chase noise. They trade long-term greatness for short-term dopamine. It's like trying to win chess by only thinking one move ahead. You might win a piece, but you'll lose the board. The Stoic advantage: think in decades, not days. The Stoics taught one of the most strategic truths ever spoken: don't aim to seem wise. Aim to become it. Epictetus: you don't need to impress anyone now. You need to become someone undeniable later. That means you skip easy applause. You endure boring disciplines. You build in silence while others broadcast their progress. Because the rewards of the long game are exponential. When others are exhausted from sprinting, you're still moving calm, deliberate, unstoppable. Example: the quick win trap. Let's say you're in a debate. Your opponent throws a petty jab. You could respond with a clever insult, and sure, you might win. The moment the crowd laughs, the ego swells. But you've lost something bigger: your control, because now you've made the conversation about pride, not principle. The long game move: you pause, you smile, and you say nothing. That silence, that restraint, echoes louder than any comeback. You didn't just win the moment. You won the frame. You established yourself as the higher presence, the one who doesn't need to bite back because you're not threatened. That's the kind of victory they remember long after the noise dies. The compound effect of strategic silence. Think of every small decision you make like a drop of water. Each drop seems insignificant, but over time, they form oceans. This is the power of delayed gratification, and it terrifies people who live for the quick fix. You invest in skills. You sharpen your mind. You manage your emotions. You save your energy. While they chase applause, you build leverage. While they chase followers, you build influence. While they chase revenge, you build peace. In the end, the one who can wait without withering always outlasts the one who needs to win now. When you master patience, you master power. Most people act on impulse. They say the first thing that comes to mind. They respond to every provocation. They leap at the first opportunity, even if it leads nowhere. But you're built different. You wait. You listen longer than they expect. You observe longer than they can handle. You prepare longer than anyone believes necessary. And when you act, it's decisive. It's final. It's dominant. Because you weren't reacting. You were calculating. Marcus Aurelius played the long game. The most powerful man in Rome wrote this in his private journal. A cucumber is bitter, then throw it away. There are brambles in the path, then go around. That is enough. Don't demand the world conform to your expectations. Translation: don't let temporary discomfort knock you off course. The Stoic leader knows life is long. Ego is impatient. Choose life. That's the mindset of someone playing for legacy, not likes. Winning in silence while they burn out loud. People will mock your discipline. They'll call you boring. Too serious. Too calm. But while they're distracted, you're collecting compound interest in knowledge, in strength, in control. And when it's time to strike, you don't need noise. You just act, and it's already too late for them to catch up. That's the cruel poetry of the long game. The ones who laughed at your patience will be the ones begging for your guidance. Final thought. Short-term thinkers need to win the room. Long-term thinkers build the entire building. Don't trade depth for speed. Don't trade endurance for ego. Don't trade clarity for applause, because the one who plays the long game wins without rushing, influences without pushing, and dominates without trying. Let them chase the moment. You're chasing mastery. Power doesn't come from aggression. It comes from composure, from being the calmest one in the room while everyone else is busy reacting. The truth is brutal, but clear. The person who controls their emotions controls the environment, in business, in love, in arguments, in life. The most powerful player is never the loudest. It's the one who doesn't flinch, the one whose calm unsettles others. Emotion, your greatest ally, or your greatest weakness. You are not your emotions, but if you don't master them, they will own you. When someone offends you, your instinct is to retaliate. When you're scared, your mind screams to escape. When you're hurt, the ego demands validation. And this is the trap. The moment you react without thinking, you've given them control of your mind. You've handed them the remote to your inner peace. And that's how most people lose, not from lack of intelligence, but from lack of emotional discipline. The narcissist's playground, your emotional triggers. Let's break it down. Manipulators. Narcissists. Toxic people, they thrive on emotional reactivity. They test your buttons. They poke at your insecurities. They feed you half-truths and provoke outrage. Why? Because every reaction you give is leverage. The more they can predict your emotional state, the easier it is to control your decisions. They don't need to outthink you. They just need you to self-destruct. So the moment you become unshakable, they lose the game entirely. The Stoic response: observe. Don't absorb, Marcus Aurelius said. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. That's Stoic clarity. You don't have to absorb every insult. You don't have to internalize every rude tone. You don't have to engage every storm. You observe it, label it, then let it pass. You train your mind to respond, never to react. Because when you react, you're controlled, but when you respond, you are in command. Example: the power of a paused mind. Imagine this. You're in a heated meeting. Someone challenges your idea in front of the whole room. You feel the heat rise in your chest. Now, here's the difference between the average person and a master of emotional control. The average person snaps back, raises their voice, defends themselves aggressively. But the strategist, they pause, they breathe, they speak in a slow, composed tone, not to suppress anger, but to signal control. And in that moment, the room shifts. People no longer remember what was said. They remember how you handled it, and that becomes your edge. Emotional intelligence is strategic dominance. In high-performance environments, emotional control is not just admirable, it's lethal. The military, elite sports, high-stakes negotiations, they all teach one thing: he who stays calm wins. Why? Because emotions cloud judgment. Fear shrinks opportunity. Anger burns bridges. Pride blinds reason. But when you're emotionally centered, you see what others miss. You sense weakness before it shows. You anticipate conflict before it explodes. And most importantly, you become impossible to manipulate. Story time, the unbothered leader. There's a story of a general whose troops were ambushed. Everyone panicked. Screaming. Confusion. Shouts. But the general, he sat quietly, boiling tea. His officers yelled. "We're under attack," he calmly replied. "I make better decisions with a clear mind and warm hands." Later, he led the troops to a flawless counterattack because he waited until the storm passed inside, before confronting the storm outside. That's not detachment. That's domination through emotional regulation. The manipulator's nightmare: you stay calm. Let's be blunt. Some people want to trigger you, not because they care, but because your reaction feeds their ego. They insult you. You lash back. They smile. You've just danced to their tune. But when you don't react, when you look them in the eye and stay calm, they feel powerless. Because your silence says, "You don't control me. Not anymore." That's how you reclaim your space, your peace, and your authority. Practical mastery: how to control emotions in real time. 1. Label it. This is anger. This is ego. This is fear. Naming an emotion separates you from it. 2. Delay your response. Always insert time before action. Even 10 seconds can change the outcome. 3. Control your breath. Your breathing rhythm controls your nervous system. Slow breath equals slow mind. 4. Shift perspective. Ask, will this matter in 5 days, 5 months, 5 years? Often, it won't. 5. Speak. Low and slow. Never raise your voice. The most dangerous minds whisper. Final thought: emotional control is not weakness. It's superiority. Don't confuse stillness with softness. The Stoic who doesn't scream back isn't scared. They're just too powerful to be provoked. When others are enslaved by their emotions, you become a fortress. Not cold, but composed. Not numb, but wise. Not reactive, but responsive. Because in every game, from boardrooms to battlefields, the winner is not the one who feels the most, but the one who uses feeling as fuel, not a leash. Let others rage. Let them spiral. Let them destroy themselves, chasing dominance through noise. You'll win in silence. Because the calmest one in the room always ends up in control. You don't need to announce your plans. You don't need to explain your moves. You don't need applause for progress nobody sees, because the most dangerous power is the one they never see coming. In a world obsessed with showing off, your silence becomes your strategy. Your invisibility becomes your weapon. Visibility is a double-edged sword. When you broadcast every step, you invite envy, criticism, sabotage. When you speak too soon, you awaken the resistance before you have the strength to confront it. The Stoics knew this well. Work in silence. Let success be your noise. Marcus Aurelius. The most powerful transformations don't happen on stage. They happen in the shadows. They happen when you disappear from distractions, from shallow praise, from people who never deserve to know your blueprint. Because when you're invisible, you're untouchable. The element of surprise, your most underrated power. Let's get tactical. In every game of power, from chess to business, from politics to relationships, the most underestimated force is the element of surprise. People can't defend what they don't see. When you're silent about your growth, your ambitions, your next move, you deny your opposition the chance to block you. By the time they realize what you've become, you've already won. And this is what separates true operators from the amateurs. Amateurs perform. Professionals prepare quietly. The gray zone where real power grows growth isn't sexy. It's not loud. It doesn't come with likes, followers, or validation. It comes from shutting off the noise, turning inward, and building in the dark day after day. This is the gray zone, a place of solitude, a place of sacrifice, where nobody claps, nobody sees, and nobody understands, but that's where your edge is forged. While others are busy competing in the spotlight, you're building weapons in the basement, and when you finally emerge, it's too late for them to react. Example, the quiet rise of a lion. Let's paint a picture. You're in a company where everyone is busy proving themselves, talking, posturing, showing off. But you study. You build skills in silence. You observe the system, the power structures, the weaknesses. You don't beg for recognition. You don't expose your ambition. Then one day, when the right opportunity opens, you strike with precision, not emotionally, not impulsively, but strategically. And they say, "Where did this come from?" That's the point. They were looking in the wrong direction the whole time, because you played the long game in silence. Your silence will confuse the weak. Weak people need constant validation. They panic in silence. They fear not being seen. But silence isn't your weakness, it's your discipline. It means you're not here to impress, you're here to execute. Every day you stay silent about your moves. You sharpen the blade. Every day you resist the urge to overshare. You train your focus until you become the ghost in the game, unseen, unpredictable, and unstoppable. Modern Stoicism, strategic invisibility. The Stoic doesn't parade strength. He doesn't need to be understood, liked, or acknowledged. He remains grounded in this truth. The more you say, the more you give away, the more you show, the more they can aim at. Modern Stoicism isn't just about calm. It's about camouflage. It's about learning to operate without ego, to master yourself in secret, to become so dangerous that you never need to prove it. Tactic, leave no clues. Let's get practical. Here's how to become invisible in a world that craves attention. 1. Keep goals private. Never announce before execution. Not because you're secretive, but because you're strategic. 2. Withdraw emotionally. Don't react. Don't defend. Don't explain. Keep them guessing. 3. Build in isolation. Create without applause. Transform in silence. 4. Play dumb when needed. Don't reveal how much you know. Let them underestimate you. 5. Detach from validation. The less you need to be seen, the more powerful you become. Psychological warfare, the art of unreadability. Being unreadable is a power play. When they can't predict your next move, they can't prepare for it. When they can't read your emotions, they can't manipulate you. And when they don't know what drives you, they'll never be able to stop you. The Stoic warrior is unreadable not because he hides, but because he's free from the need to be seen. His silence isn't passive, it's surgical. Final thought, let your victory be the first time they see you, by the time they notice, by the time they ask, "How did you do it?" By the time they try to copy your moves, it's already too late. You've outgrown their tactics. You've surpassed their games. You've become untouchable. And all of it was built in the dark. So stay low. Move smart. Say nothing. Let them underestimate you. Let them believe you've fallen off. Then rise like thunder from a storm they never saw coming. In a room full of egos, the most brilliant player is the one who doesn't look like a threat. He plays dumb. He praises others. He hides the dagger behind a smile. Because true dominance isn't about looking powerful. It's about being powerful without needing the room to know it. Visibility triggers insecurity. There's an ancient law of power, and it's brutal: never outshine the master. Robert Greene. 48. Laws of power. You may think excellence is always rewarded, but in reality, when you shine too much, you don't earn admiration, you awaken insecurity. Your boss, your partner, even your closest friend can feel threatened by your light if it casts a shadow over theirs. And when that happens, they don't praise you. They sabotage you. They don't say thank you. They say, "Who do you think you are?" The Stoic response: outsmart, not outshine. The Stoic isn't here to steal the spotlight. He doesn't feed on applause, ego, or recognition. He studies people. He reads the emotional temperature of the room, and he adapts. He learns how to play small while preparing big. He acts humble while calculating everything. This isn't deception, it's psychological aikido. Let others feel superior while you sharpen the blade. Example: the strategist in the shadows. Picture this. You work in a team where one person constantly takes credit. They dominate meetings, interrupt others, and treat silence as submission. Most people either fight back or shrink, but not you. You compliment them. You let them feel important. You offer ideas subtly, allowing them to deliver them publicly. Then one day, they fall. And guess who's already trusted, respected, and positioned to rise you? Not because you demanded attention, but because you earned quiet leverage while they were too busy performing. Rule of the quiet assassin. The smartest operator uses a three-phase method. 1. Observe the power dynamics. Know who's insecure. Know who's watching. Know who needs to feel superior. 2. Strategically, dim your light. Don't reveal all your skills at once. Don't correct someone who's wrong unless it serves a purpose. Don't always speak first or loudest. 3. Build behind the curtain. Cultivate relationships. Accumulate knowledge. Sharpen your edge. So when the stage is empty, you're ready. Why most people fail this rule? They want recognition too early. They can't tolerate being underestimated. They react to every slight. They need to be right. They forget power is like heat. The more you reveal, the more you're measured, targeted, attacked. Stoic dominance is different. It plays the long game. The Stoic doesn't mind being overlooked. He prefers it because it keeps him out of the crosshairs until it's too late to stop him. Let others shine until their shine burns them. You don't need to dim others. Let them shine too brightly. Let them burn with the need to be seen. While they chase approval, you chase understanding. While they perform, you position. And when they fall from exhaustion, ego, or exposure, you step in, calm, ready, silent, and no one will call you lucky. They'll call you the only one left standing. Self-mastery over ego. The biggest threat to this principle, your own ego. When someone underestimates you, your pride wants to retaliate. When someone steals your idea, your pride wants to expose them. When someone is louder, your pride wants to silence them. But the Stoic doesn't need to win the moment. He's playing for the war. Every time you resist the urge to prove, you invest in your own quiet invincibility. Psychological mastery. Don't be a threat. Be the solution when people feel threatened. They block you. When people feel you're useful, they promote you. This is key. Don't be the competition. Be the complement. Make your superiors feel safe. Make others feel important. Not because you lack value, but because you understand value. This is how you slip through defenses. This is how you outsmart everyone without ever needing to outshine them. Final reminder, you don't win by being seen. You win by being remembered. At the end of the day, applause is temporary, but influence is lasting. Don't be the loudest in the room. Be the most strategic. Don't show them your value. Let them discover it when it's too late to compete. So sit back. Let them underestimate you. Let them grab the mic, the credit, the glory. Because when the dust settles and the real players rise, you won't just be visible. You'll be unforgettable. You were never meant to play small. Not in your career. Not in your relationships. Not in your life. You were meant to dominate quietly. To control outcomes without noise. To win without shouting that you've won. The 7 Stoic rules you've just learned aren't just tactics. They're a way of life. A mindset for those who are done explaining. A code for those who refuse to be manipulated. A weapon for those who are tired of losing to louder, weaker people. Remember, the loudest one in the room is usually the weakest. The one who needs power the most never truly has it. And the one who plays the long game always wins in the end. So don't beg to be respected. Command respect by how calmly, strategically, and powerfully you live. Outsmart them, outlast them, and when the time is right, outplay them. And when they ask, "How did you do it?" just smile, because the strongest don't explain, they execute. If this video shook something awake inside you, if you're done playing nice in a world built on strategy, then this is your moment. Subscribe to Think Stoic 101, because here, we don't just talk about mindset, we forge it. Share this video with someone who needs to stop reacting and start ruling. And in the comments, tell me, which of the 7 Stoic rules are you mastering first? This isn't motivation. This is mental warfare. And now, you're armed,